we are celebrating. Right off the top, let me congratulate the entire Sky organization for bringing us this incredibly important moment, including, of course, owner Michael Alter, John Rogers, and coach James Wade. And I want to give a special shout out to our Sky players who have been tremendous leaders through this pandemic. And of course, a special welcome to our newest member, Candace Parker. Candace, as I related, my wife Amy and I, who's here with me, are huge basketball fans, and we have been following your career since we saw you in a tournament your senior year at Naperville Central. All of your success on those great Tennessee teams led by the legendary coach Pat Summit, your prolific Olympic and of course professional career. We are so proud of you and happy to welcome you back home to Chicago, where your love of the game began. We both know you're going to love it here, and we are definitely going to love you back. I'll turn things over in a moment, but I just wanted to say that one of the things I'm most excited about is what you being here will mean for our young girls. Our 12-year-old daughter is beyond herself, beside herself with excitement, and it's going to mean a lot for girls all across the Chicago region, both on and off the court. You know as well as anyone how the eyes of our girls light up when our basketball stars visit them in their communities. And it's something I know will be happening a lot more now that you're in town. And I personally can't wait to see that happen and anxious for the start of the season. Congratulations again to you, the entire team and the Sky organization. And once again, on behalf of all the Sky fan base and season ticket holders like the Lightfoot Eshelman family, welcome home to Chicago. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to team owner Michael Alter. Go Parker.
What do I do? Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Amy. I can't tell you how fantastic it is to have our mayor and First Lady such huge fans of our team. It's really special. I want to welcome everyone and thank you all for being here. Of course, the biggest thank you to our very special guest, Candace. It would be an immense understatement to say we are incredibly excited to have you. One of the best players to ever play the game, coming back home to Chicago. It's just is so exciting. I really just want to say a couple of things. One is I want to give credit to our GM and coach, James Wade, who really masterminded this and made it happen, and really give him all the credit that he deserves for doing that. I think it's a tremendous reflection of the fact that players love to play for James. They respect him as well, but they enjoy playing with him, and really a reflection of the culture that he's put together over the last couple of years. And it's the reason why we are so happy that we've extended our contract with him to be here for a long time. And the last thing I just want to note is the tremendous support of the rest of the players on our team, especially our star players, who were also very much involved in the recruiting of Candace. And I think that is just a huge reflection of their character as well. I mean, there's not even an iota of jealousy, quite the opposite. I talked to them, as James did, after the season, and going through the list of free agents and saying, what do we need? Who do we need to make this team a championship team? And Candace's name was the top of everybody's list, and everybody is so enthusiastic that she is coming here. And I think it just shows that everyone's focus is on winning the championship, and that's the priority. And everyone do whatever it takes to do that. So I really want to thank our players and commend them for their commitment. And I know how thrilled they are to have Candace here as well. With that, I'm going to recognize my co-owner, my partner, and my good friend, John Rogers.
Well, thank you, Michael. It's an honor to be here. This is an extraordinarily important day for all of us to be able to have one of the greatest players of all time coming home to Chicago. It's an extraordinary thrill. I would just like to say, as I'm introducing Coach Wade, is that Coach Wade was a point guard. And like our mayor was a point guard at Washington High School, we all know point guards are particularly great leaders. They're smart, they're tough, they have vision. And Coach Wade had the vision to see that we could bring Candace here to Chicago and bring a world championship to Chicago. So it's so exciting, and it's such an honor to be able to introduce the former Coach of the Year on the WNBA, Coach James Wade.
Okay, hello everyone. I just want to reiterate how monumentous this day is. And I know I'm going to answer some questions later, but just what it means to us as an organization, me personally, and to our team. Not the fact that she's a great talent, generational talent, but what we needed for our team was a leader, and it was evident in the bubble. We needed someone that would be there for us through hard times. That, you know, and just to say some things about her career is that she's the type of talent and the type of person where she has expectation. So she has expectation. When you talk about a team that's, you know, every year the team that she's on, you automatically consider her team as a championship contender. And I felt that's what we needed. And so once we felt that there could be an opening, we went at it 100%. We were all hands on deck. And it wasn't just about myself, but it was about the team, about the organization, about making her feel comfortable, and about putting her in a position and putting our team in a position where it can eventually lead to being contenders or winning the championship. That's been our goal since I've come here, and it won't waver. And adding Candace to that effective is only going to magnify that. So we're excited and we're happy and we're stoked, and you know, we're going to continue to play our brand of basketball. It's a brand of basketball that's full of excitement, full of joy, and you can see it, and it's full of energy. And so with no further ado, I would like to introduce Candace Parker.
Hey everyone, Mayor Lightfoot, First Lady, Michael Alter, John Rogers, James Wade, the entire coaching staff, entire front office at Chicago, as well as the team. I'm so excited to be home, and I say that from the bottom of my heart. I didn't realize how amazing the Chicagoland area was with basketball in general until I went out into the world. And I saw how truly special and how they really embrace their homegrown talent. And so when this opportunity came about to be able to come home and to play in front of my family and friends and to play for a fantastic organization like the Chicago Sky, it was a difficult decision, but ultimately I'm very excited and proud to be able to come home. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just being able to bring my family back. My daughter is super amped. She's excited to be able to play in some of the gyms and on some of the playgrounds that I was playing and grew up playing basketball. My friends, my family, my parents both still live in the Chicagoland area. And this is, honestly just a family event. So I really appreciate you all welcoming me back. The team has been amazing in terms of just reaching out, and we've already started to develop that bond and that relationship. And I think that's what it's about. You learn, as this orange ball has taken me all around the world. I'm currently in Atlanta to talk about basketball tonight on television. And so I think when you realize how special this little orange ball and how many journeys and events and memories and relationships that you've established because of it. You really feel special. I left Naperville at 18 years old, and now I'm returning at 35. I'll be 35 when I return. And the lessons I've learned being gone have brought me back home. And I really appreciate it. I promise I'll give my blood, my sweat, my tears, my energy, but you're going to be able to see how we play, that we're really passionate about playing for this organization. So thank you so much for this warm welcome. It means the world to me. And I'm excited. Let's get to work.
All right. Thank you, Candace. And we'll now start taking questions. We'll start with Jamal Collier from the Tribune.
Hi, Candace. Welcome, first off, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I guess, just a little bit about this process. Like, how long had you been thinking about Chicago as a potential possibility? Is this something that really developed through this off season, or is it something that you have been kind of maybe in the back of your mind here for some time?
Well, I think, it's one of those things that to get to know me is, I kind of weigh my decisions, but I don't think that this was decided, a long time ago. This was within, a couple weeks of the free agency process where I really could envision myself going home. And, I really didn't take lightly this decision, but ultimately, I followed my heart and I followed my passion. I think during COVID, it really has, shined a light on how important it is to be around family and friends. And I'll tell you, I don't waver. When I got a call from my grandma the next morning on FaceTime, holding up the newspaper, so excited that I was coming home to play and that she was going to be able to come see me play. So I think this wasn't a decision that was made a long time ago, but it was a decision that, a lot of thought went into. And ultimately, during the free agency period, I decided this is where I wanted to be.
Michelle Steele from ESPN.
Hey, Candace, congratulations and welcome back home.
Thank you.
What was the moment where, you said that this came together, relatively recently. Was there a moment that brought this to the forefront that sort of cemented in your mind that I'm going to do this, I'm going to go back home?
Fortunately, I really have a great support system. Honestly, my family and my friends, but then also my extended family, my friends that I lean on. I lean heavily on my brother, my parents, both of my brothers. And, obviously I have a lot of quote unquote brothers in the NBA. And I think the biggest thing is when you're going to leave someplace you've been for an extremely long time, I don't take that lightly. And, LA is home. It's still going to continue to be home. I'd like to say I have the best of both worlds, and I'm living in LA in the winter and I'm able to come to Chicago in the summer, which is the best city in the world in the summer. So I think I reached out to a lot of different people during this process and just talked to them about the experiences that they've had going through free agency, maybe possibly leaving a place they've been for a long time or a place where they've won a championship. And ultimately I got some pros, some cons, and I kind of weighed my option, and I go to sleep on it and I make my pro and con list, and then I live with it. And I went to sleep, made the decision probably about a week ago, I would say. And I just haven't looked back. I've been really excited. It's been bittersweet, obviously, but I'm very excited to join this team.
Doug Feinberg, Associated Press.
Hey, Candace. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I have a two-part question. Was there anywhere else you would have considered besides Chicago to leave LA for in your free agency discussions or thoughts? And the second part is, you've been around this league for a while, obviously, and you cover the NBA now, and for obviously your other job. this is a seismic shift. I mean, usually players in the W don't leave their franchise to go somewhere else to play of your stature. Do you see this something maybe that now maybe more players may do this and test the waters free agency wise? In the past, the league, because of the core, they couldn't really do, but there may be more players now looking to go elsewhere down the road as opposed to playing their career for one team their entire career, so to speak.
The first answer to your question regarding anywhere else, no. It was Chicago or Los Angeles, and have always been my only two places that I wanted to play. For me personally, I want to emphasize that I was brought up as, you finish what you start. And for 13 years, I feel as though I gave everything I had to the Sparks organization, as well as they gave everything they had. And at this point in time, I feel as though contractually, I was an unrestricted free agent. I'm not leaving disgruntled. I'm not leaving throwing stuff or upset or angry or demanding a trade. I'm leaving because contractually I can go where I want and I can make that decision. And I think player empowerment is something that is super important and talked about more. And I do believe that, the WNBA and the NBA kind of mimic each other. Whether my journey gives others the power to do what they want to do, I think it's great. But I think I do want to emphasize, like, I did finish what I started. And 13 years was a long time, but ultimately, I've said this time and time again, I have way more basketball behind me than I do in front of me. And that's just facts. And I felt like the basketball that's in front of me, I wanted to play in Chicago.
Maddie Kenny from the Sun-Times.
Hi, Candace. So kind of just following up on that question, I know your agent said like this was a very difficult and emotional decision, and you even said earlier in this press conference about how difficult it was. So can you kind of just like go into what really went into your decision, not only to come to the Sky, but more so to leave the Sparks after 13 seasons there?
It just felt like the right decision coming home to Chicago and playing in front of, the fans, the city, the people that I grew up in front of, and have obviously evolved. And a lot of that had to do with me living in Knoxville and me living in Los Angeles and Russia and, Istanbul and China. Like, I've had so much development since I've left here. And so I don't know if it was ultimately about me. And I know this sounds cliche about leaving the Sparks. It was more so about me joining Chicago. And, just the connections I've had. Allie Quigley and I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but her and I took a picture our senior year in high school. And, it was a locker room picture. I think it was in the Chicago Sun-Times. And just to like look back and reflect, we played together in Fenerbahce. And then obviously Suit and I have played together with USA Basketball, Diamond Shields. We recruited her to Tennessee. Just the different connections and the outreach and the amount of support and, people reaching out. I think that was a big thing, is in terms of coming home to play in front of family and friends, but also a team I feel as though that I can add extreme value to. And with that being said, relationships are super, super, super important to me. And I've always been taught by Coach Summit to chase people and passion. And I felt like that's what Chicago Sky had to offer. And, obviously surrounded with Chicago City and where I'm from. And it was a difficult decision. But I think ultimately, like, I chose the Sky because I wanted to follow my heart.
Ari Chambers from Bleacher Report.
Hey, Candace. So I know that your home state means a lot to you, and the court that you grew up on, you actually have it named after you. But what's the legacy you hope to leave for Chicago basketball, beyond Naperville basketball, and for Illinois in general for basketball? And also a follow-up question. What I know you said about your grandma, FaceTiming you and saying, yeah, I get to see you play. What did your family say? What did your family say when you go play?
Sorry.
You good?
I still have not figured out how to work notifications on my phone. So
Okay, your grandma, it's fine.
oh, I gotta get it. Okay, hold on. Trying to. Can I get this back up? Okay. All right, I'm back in. All right. Sorry. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Eat the whole thing, Candace, because it's your world. So
Thank you.
I know how much your home state means to you, and the court where you grew up, you have a court named after you. So what's the legacy you want to leave for Chicago basketball and also for Illinois basketball? That's part one. And part two is, what did your family say when you told them you were going to come home? I know your grandma was so happy that she got to see you play, but other than that, the rest of them.
Well, I think legacy is obviously what you leave behind, but it's also what you take with you. And I've taken so much of what Chicagoland basketball means. I mean, we just spoke to Mayor Lightfoot earlier, and she alluded to the fact that she saw me play in high school. So it's like the mayor saw me play when I was 17, 18 years old. That's Chicago. And I've taken that with me, and I've taken that legacy with me across the world, across to LA. And now I'm coming back with all of those different experiences and values and everything that I've learned in my process. And I hope it shows. I hope it shows in not just the way that we carry ourselves on the court, but off. And this community means so much to me and the person that it's made me. And I think my legacy is I came back and I wanted to come back. And this was not, this was a choice. And so I think just, if anything that I'm leaving behind, it's follow your heart, do your best, chase people and passion. And I don't think you can fail. And so obviously we have our sights set on a championship. I think that there's 11 other teams in the WNBA that are focusing on trying to win. But at the end of the day, you know, I can live with the result if we do it the right way, if we go out there and play with passion, purpose. And I think that's what I want my legacy to be. And then secondly, I think the best reaction, second to my grandma, my dad kind of knew I was thinking about it. So I don't think it was just like breaking news when I told him that I decided to go to Chicago. But my best friend, I called my best friend. We've grown up together. We've known each other since I was 11 years old. She was out with her boys, you know, building snowmen because it just snowed in Chicago. And, you know, I was sitting outside in sunny LA and in 75-degree weather. And I was like, guess what? I'm coming to Chicago for the summer. And her reaction was just priceless. Like, we're going to be able to like hang out like old times. And like, she has kids now and our kids are going to be able to grow up together. So I think it's just that type of excitement. And immediately I have texts like, I'm getting season tickets. Like, I'm coming to see you play like in high school. So I think it's those type of reactions that make me really validate my choice and my decision. And I'm really excited to come back, like I said, and join the Sky family.
Great. Charles Hallman has a question for James and Candace.
First of all, Candace, congratulations on your decision. I have a two-part question to follow up with you. When you mentioned about, you talked to many players about making a decision like that. Was Simone Augustus a part of that group? Because she left Minnesota after a number of years and came to LA. And then secondly, this is the second year of the new CPA, not new anymore, but was this what part of this was the fragrancy and the movement of it has been unprecedented? Was this something that you hoped would happen on signing this new CPA 2 years ago?
Well, first, I was able to speak to Simone about her experience last year and, you know, just how much it took to leave a place that she's been and won championships with and grown with. And I know how difficult of a decision that went in for her because I was a part of that process. This time I didn't reach out to Moan, but I think I took with me her experience and her words. I think two people that I really wanted to get their advice from was Dwayne Wade and Kevin Durant. And those were two players that I have a close relationship with. as well as I value their opinion and their experiences, and both had completely different experiences. And Dwayne Wade coming back to Chicago, then going to Cleveland and going back to Miami. And then Kevin Durant, now going to Golden State, which took a lot. And then going from Golden State now to the Brooklyn Nets. And the biggest thing that I got from them was like, you need to follow your heart. You need to follow what you want and what you desire, and let all of that other stuff take care of itself. And so I think that's what I ultimately did. And, I think I forgot the second part of your question, but
second part is just the second part was just the CBA.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Gotcha.
being,
Right.
the free agency now being a big deal as it wasn't many years ago.
Yeah, I think it's super important. Player empowerment has been a huge, I would say, has played a huge role in the way that we're kind of navigating even the CBA and the different player agreements. But at the end of the day, I think we look at basketball players, or we look at athletes as it's another form of a job, but that's the way that you kind of support your family, and it's a job. And I look at it like if I was a manager in LA and I had the chance to go home and be with my family, my friends, would I take that managing job in Chicago? And so I think ultimately, yes, there's other factors that factor into it with being an athlete, the city, the fans, and things like that. But ultimately, like, we're people and we want to do what makes us happy. And I think that it's great that, our executive committee, our Terry Jackson, they all make sure that that players are going to have the choice to be able to do what they want to do.
Thank you, Candace. And a question for Coach Wade. On signing, Candace, and just the signing of free agencies all across the league, how important that is to give this league even more validity, because the buzz that's been happening over the last couple of weeks of who was going, who wasn't going, has been unprecedented.
Well, I think it's important. Am I the only one that's hearing
Yeah,
it?
we're getting a little feedback. Let me just figure out what's going on here. You can try again. No, you're not insane. Yes.
I was wondering. I was like, am I going?
All right.
Could you ask that again, Charles?
Yes, Wade, James, just in terms of just signing Candace and all the signing that's been going on in the last couple of days, this has been unprecedented.
Sorry, you guys. Charles.
Okay. I think I got the gist of Charles' question. Just let me know if I'm off a little bit. But no, I think the signatures, I think they're good for the WNBA. I think when a player has the right to choose where they want to be, and to navigate how they want to do it. The one thing that I try to tell our team is that the game, your game belongs to you. It's yours, and the only thing that we should do is add to that. And so if playing in another market, or playing at home, or playing wherever you want to play, and you have the right to that joy is what matters the most, because that's when you play your best. And what we want to do is see these magnificent athletes play at their best. So the fact that they get to choose, and now with the new CBA, it's probably going to be a lot of movement. So I think it's good for the WNBA. It gets us a lot of coverage. It allows players to play at their best. And so I think it's good for everyone.
Congratulations, James. Good luck.
Thank you.
Eric Wilson, the Sports Arena.
Coach, as always, great to see you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I just got to ask you, when this decision came down, can you just talk a little bit about the conversation you had with Candace about not only her expectations, but also yours, as far as making the Sky that much more of a dominant team?
I mean, after the decision, because it was a lead up, so that was me selling what the possibilities could be, and how we expected to play, and what we wanted from her. Once she decided, she told me even before, if I come, I'm coming to ball, and automatically that, okay, this is what the expectations are. We want to win, and she wanted to win, and that's what it ultimately came down to. And the fact that we felt that we needed her to win was the most important thing. And it was not just about the player who she is, but even the person, and seeing her, how she's evolved as a player, and the fact that she's carried a team on her shoulder for so long. We felt that we can help ease that, and but at the same time, we needed someone, that caliber player, to help us do that. And so that's the expectation from both sides that we had, and those were the discussions that we had.
Okay. Larry Snyder, ABC. Larry, I think it's on the mic. Larry, I think that's your mic that's making that sound.
Larry's the baby of the bunch. Okay. All right.
Okay. You back, Larry. Yeah, I'll call you in a second. 1 second. We'll go to Maggie Hendricks.
Hi, Candace. Sorry, James. Question for Candace here. I'm wondering if you think that this team now with you has what it takes to win a championship, and then what would that mean for your legacy?
Man, I think about the players that have had the opportunity to go home and play, and to play where they grew up idolizing. Those that know me know I am a huge Chicago sports fan. I've even brainwashed my daughter into being a Chicagoland fan. And so, for me personally, I think playing here in itself holds so much value, but I would say also winning a championship, back home would mean so much. And honestly, this isn't me, just coming home to play. This isn't me just going somewhere. I mean, Chicago has great players. They have a great organization. And I've played against them for a number of years, and, the last couple under Coach Wade, and I like what they're doing, and I like how they play. And I think that in terms of fit and pieces, for me, I think I add a piece to that, and they add so much to me. And I think we kind of, when you're able to find that connection where you can benefit a team and the team will benefit you, and vice versa from every player down the line, I think that that's where you go. And so for me, yes, our sights are set on a championship, but with that being said, we understand that there's the day-to-day. We understand we have to get to work. We understand we have a lot to do before that can happen. But yes, I would be lying to you if I didn't, have that definitely in my mind.
Edwin Garcia.
Yeah, Candace Parker, first off, welcome home. So glad you've joined the Chicago Sky family here. You've already accomplished so much as a player, 5-time All-Star, WNBA championship, WNBA Finals MVP, 2 Finals MVPs. So my question to you is, what do you want to work on your personal game during your 2 years here with the Chicago Sky?
Now, I'm not quite as old as some of the players that are dominating the NFL and the NBA right now, but I am taking notes, and a lot of it is taking care of my body, honestly. I just want a fair shot at this. I want to be healthy, and I'm going to do everything in my power to come in the best condition that I can. And then I think as long as, every coach says when they're on a great team or when they have great pieces, you just want to stay healthy. And that's what I want most for anything, is to have a great shot at it. Because I feel like if we have a fair shot of it or a fair shot at it, our chances are great. And so I would say just in terms of just staying healthy, staying diligent about that. But then also, I'm excited to be able to use my knowledge for the game, IQ. I think it's a perfect storm in terms of just the way that we kind of see the game in Coach Wade. I think you always have to have a great relationship with your point guard. And Sloop, I've been an admirer of her for a very long time. And then you know how it is with the WNBA, you got to have shooters. And I feel like the Sky have plenty of those. Allie Quigley, she's dotted my eye a number of times on opposing teams. So I would say just in terms of the pieces that kind of fit together in the style of the game that we're playing now, I'm just going to continue to get in really good shape so that we can get out and play fast.
Rob Schaefer with NBC Sports.
Thanks, Kelly. My question's for James. Obviously, signing a player of Candace's stature, that's landmark, that's historic for the franchise. What do you think it does from a reputational or from a stature perspective, across the WNBA for you guys? And have you seen the effects of that kind of already? And how do you expect it to manifest?
I've seen it, especially when you talk to other agents or the players themselves, and them wanting to come play with us. I think we've traditionally been a team that it's been hard for to get free agents here, but we've done a really good job, I think, of being able to retain the free agents that we have, the good players that we have, and I think that was the first key in actually building something attractive to people want to know what's going on. And what you see out of our team when they play is you see the chemistry on the floor in wins and in losses. But fortunately, we've been able to string along more wins than losses, and so you see the potential there. And I think once you see that potential, it's something that you don't rule out possibilities. When you get a player of this caliber, I think it can open up eyes. And now when you get a player of this caliber, you start having expectations, and once you meet those expectations, I think you have a world of possibilities. So now I think we just focus on putting something together where we just enjoy this process, and we keep on building on it, and we let everything else we just leave everything else into the hands of the others that see what we're putting together.
Michelle Vopel, ESPN.
Yeah, this is for Candace, please. Candace, you mentioned, watching older players, and obviously we have a 43-year-old in the Super Bowl. You have older players in the NBA, and Sue and Diana are still playing. Has that baseline changed in terms of what you can expect as a player? Years ago, 35 might have been near the end. Now, even though you say you have more behind you, you still have a lot in front of you. And also, I guess if you could talk about that, but also then what it means as a role model and somebody to give advice to younger players like a Diamond DeShields. What does that mean to you to be able to come into Chicago and do that?
Well, I'll answer your second question first. To be able to leave something, I think all of us, especially within this last year, have really been able to reflect, and especially for me, these last 5 years without Coach Summit, of the impact that she's left on my career, as well as the impact that Kobe Bryant and the imprint he left on not just the NBA, but on the WNBA. And so when you start talking about legacy and what people are leaving behind, and then we're going to take that blueprint and share it with our kids, or share it with our rookies, or share it with our younger players. And so as a vet, to be able to impact, different players in the future, and then they go on and pass that on. I think that's special. I still have Lisa Leslie. I talked to her the other day. Delisha Milton, we text all the time. Those are my vets, and my rookie year was tough. But those are my vets. And honestly, I think as time goes on, and you may not get it at the time, but later on when you're able to kind of reflect on it, it's interesting. And it really adds value to your career and to your purpose. And so I think to be able to go back and, I mean, we haven't even talked about Azure Stevens, but she's just fun. I mean, long, athletic, she's amazing. And so to be able to like kind of see the younger version of myself and what she can bring, I mean, as a mom, as a teammate, as whatever, to be able to impact other people is what I want to do. And then Michelle, help me out on the first question.
From an age standpoint, from an age standpoint, we're seeing again, you have a 43-year-old in the Super Bowl. Careers are extended for different reasons. Obviously, you guys taking care of yourselves, but maybe do you feel like people in elite athletics are looking at each other and saying, "Hey, we can do this a little longer"? Do you get some boost from that happening in other sports as well as your own?
See, my main goal is to be able to beat my kids after I'm done playing. So I don't know in terms of body wise, like I still want to be able to go out and block Layla's shot. I still want to be able to beat her in a race. And so for me personally, it's about being able to walk away from basketball and not crawl, not limp, not hobble, but walk away. And I've been extremely fortunate in my career to be able to play as many years and hopefully many more years. But I can probably guarantee I won't be playing as long as Tom Brady, as long as Sue Bird, as long as Diana Taurasi even. So I think we've all gotten a taste of LeBron's energy and what he puts into it. And I think he's transformed the way that you prepare and how you get your body in shape. And I think that's what I'm trying to do to make sure that the years that I am extending, it's playing still great basketball.
Josh Friedman from WGN.
Thanks, Kelly. Candace, congratulations again and welcome home. Two parts. First, just what are you most excited when you come back home? What are the places you hit up? Is there, food you're craving, stuff like that? I see you smiling, but what comes to mind?
First of all, anybody that knows me knows that I am the biggest Portillo's fan ever. And so, the Sky organization, the Allie Quigley and Courtney Vandersloot, they all sent me when I signed a chocolate Portillo's cake with, hot dogs, chili cheese dog, no onions. It's unbelievable. So I will be, I just said I wanted to be in shape and I wanted to be in the best shape of my life. I need to be like that before I get to Chicago because all the food spots, Giordano's, Luminati's, Portillo's, all those healthy spots. I'm definitely going to hit up. But Chicago honestly is just food. And I'm such a foodie. And so to be able to kind of explore as an adult some of these spots, it's going to be a lot of fun.
You're making me hungry now. Yeah, it all sounds good. And then the second part was just, what does this opportunity let you do as far as the community work? And, you give back so much and to so many organizations, but to really maybe hone in on the Chicagoland area with some of the work you do outside of basketball.
Well, honestly, my main purpose coming back is just that, is to, do more in the community. And I think as we get closer and kind of figure out exactly what we want to do, but I've been, keeping my eye on individuals like Chance the Rapper and what he's doing for children and youth. I definitely would like to do something centered around education. As a mom, I realized, especially within this last year, with what's going on with COVID and everything going on like that, like our kids, it's important for us to continue to push education, value education, and not just focus on the kids that, it reaches, go to the kids that maybe it doesn't. And so I think that's going to be my main purpose coming back, is to make sure to have an emphasis on in our youth and in the Chicagoland area.
All right, we're gonna go to Larry Snyder with ABC. See if it's fixed now. Larry? All right, he must still be having mic issues. Candace, he did email me a question. How much would you gas you have left in the tank? Would you say, if you had to answer that question quickly?
I can assure you that if I didn't feel as though I could make it to Chicago with enough in the tank, I wouldn't play. I don't want to cheat the game. And when that day comes, I can tell you I will walk away, because I think I was raised that when you go out on the court, it's your art form. And for me, if you can't do it in that way, then you find other ways, like speaking about it and talking about it on television. And so for me, I do think I have enough left in the tank. And for what I don't have, I think the Chicago Sky and its team and its coaching staff will add to that. So I think just together, collectively, we have enough in the tank to get it done.
Awesome. And I'll add, what is your go-to Portillo's order?
I like the fish sandwich with cheese. Okay, now
That's a surprise.
I overeat. Okay, just let me express this. So fish sandwich with cheese. I like the jumbo chili cheese dog, no onions. I order a chili cheese with extra cheese for my daughter, because she loves the hot dogs there. And then I order a large fry, a chocolate cake milkshake, and a chocolate cake to take home to eat later.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is incredible. We'll go to Howard McDowell.
Candace, hi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've got one for you and one for James, if I could. The one I wanted to ask you about is, you and I have had kind of big picture conversations about your story, your arc, and you're always so focused on the individual game, the individual season. Obviously, a process like this gives you the opportunity to think in those terms. And I wonder how much coming to Chicago, coming full circle, all of those things, as far as the way you're defining your story, were important as much as the other things we've talked about on the course of this conversation.
Big picture, it's important to reflect on, from time to time. And I think you're right. I think as athletes, we get so focused on the next game and, the next week and things like that. And we realize, we look up and 13 years later, like, time has wings. And I think I do believe in things coming full circle, and I do believe in perfect storms and the right time. And just reflecting, I'm so grateful for the 13 years that I had in LA, the people, the relationships, the experiences, the memories. And so I've had time in these last couple of days, especially, to really reflect and to really be appreciative for my time there. But then with that being said, I think even more of a gap of time, like realizing when I left Chicagoland area, when I left Naperville and I went to Knoxville, I was 18 years old, and I'm coming back a lot older. And so I think with that being said, time has wings, and I'm definitely not going to take for granted this opportunity. And, I think I've learned a lot, but also with reflecting, I'm very appreciative to have the opportunity to even come back and play basketball here.
I appreciate it, Candace. And James, my question for you is, from day one, you have made it clear, championship is the goal. You talked about being a playoff team from your time arriving there, and you have been. I wonder to what extent you viewed adding Candace as a final piece to a puzzle you've obviously been trying to create since day one, and whether anything other than a championship is something you feel would be acceptable when you think about the goals for 2021.
I mean, it's a process, right? When we first got when we first got on. I thought it was important to actually develop them and give them the confidence, so you know they can see themselves as winners. Because I think it kind of it's something that feeds. You know, it's like a virus, a good virus or a bad virus. If you're winning, then that becomes a part of your DNA. And so the last 2 years, I felt like we've made strides, but never to the point where it was consistent. I think coming into 2020, a lot of people had expectations from us, and I felt like we worked the right way. We talked the right way. We had a good chemistry, but I just felt like it was a missing piece, of course. And you want someone with you that has those expectations, that has that experience, and someone that you can put in a situation and you know that they're dependable. And so I felt like, and we as a staff felt like Candace, she checked all those boxes. And if you put her with our team, then you could say, okay, now we have expectations and we have goals that are very realistic. Now my job is to try to put everything together, but also at the same time focus on the process and not get too ahead of myself. And doing that, being a young coach, that will keep me from being too high or being too low, and not just going on a whim, but actually focusing on the process of building something and getting better every day. So you won't hear like championship talk out of my voice. I think, you know, if that's the expectation for us, that'll be the expectation. But my goal is to make sure that we play championship basketball, but every day. And if I focus on that, I think that will be enough to get us where we need to go.
Thank you both.
Hey, my question's for Candace, if that's all right. R.A. Schwartz, Winsider, by the way. Candace, obviously you have connections with these players on this roster, right? And on paper, stylistically, this looks like a perfect fit. Coach talked about it, and you talked about it a little bit, from defense, leadership, but also education of younger players. We haven't really talked about your playing style fit with this team. And I'm curious, not to put you to work, but if you could kind of put your analysis hat on and talk to me about how you feel your fit is stylistically with not only the coaches, but this team.
Well, one of the biggest things for me personally, especially, as I've kind of transitioned into this new wave of the way that the game is played, is being able to rebound the ball and go. And I think providing space is a huge benefit in the league today. And I think, you can look at the different teams that have won in the past and the type of style that they play. And the type of style that they play, I think, is what we're trying to do or trying to accomplish. Obviously, we're going to put a little spin on it, ourself, but at the same time, being able to play fast, being able to demand space in your shooting, in your creation. And I also, I don't think that everybody on this team has to have the ball in their hands to be effective. And with that being said, I think just high IQ, being able to play off one another. I'm eager to learn the system. I've already talked to Coach Wade about getting video and things like that to be able to learn my teammates. And I think they're going to want to learn me and how I play. And I think that's important. So for me personally, just putting on my analyst hat, I think that this has an opportunity to be great. Now on the defensive end, we have to get better on that end as well, so that we can get out and play fast. And so I think just willing to listen, willing to hear each other. And then I've been through, I've watched the Sky in the way that they lost 2 years ago to Vegas. And I've been in that same spot. So I think sometimes it's also being able to relate. There's so many times where my season has ended on a last second shot, and it just replays over and over and over in your mind. So I think sometimes having a shared goal, a common goal, a common place of where you can relate, kind of brings people together. And so I think it's the perfect storm.
Maddie Kenny.
Hi. Okay. So I've talked to James Wade over the last 2 years about this, but the WNBA is still really young, considered, comparing it to like the NBA, NFL, and in Chicago in particular, it's a saturated sports market. There's two MLB teams, NFL, NBA, etc. And so growing the women's game is obviously something that the team is still working on doing. It's made a lot of strides over the last 2 years. But how do you think you coming to Chicago, it's already generated a lot of buzz with people saying they want to buy your jersey or, they're going to get season tickets and stuff like that. But how do you think your arrival could help grow the WNBA's presence in the city?
Well, I hope just, I think first and foremost for the WNBA, a lot of people that don't give it a chance haven't ever been to a game. And for me personally, I know from experience, I'm not a big hockey fan. I went and played in Russia and I went to a hockey game, and I've been to a couple LA Kings games. I hope to go to some Blackhawk games out here. So you got to give it a chance. And so with that, I hope that this buzz will get people to WNBA games for the first time. And then from there, then we can grow our audience and grow the experience. I think just in this summer and what the WNBA has represented towards social justice and, our campaigns towards that, a lot of our ratings and things like that have gone up just from people giving it a chance and tuning in and getting to know us, from the orange hoodie, where we can thank Kobe for the orange hoodie, from the orange hoodie to social injustice, the bubble, our ratings are going up and it's trending up. And I think generations have been able to be passed down in terms of being Cubs fan. I'm a Cubs fan, Bulls fans. But the WNBA is 25 years young. And with that comes growing pains. And people forget that the NBA was on tape delay in the early 90s and 80s. Their playoffs were on tape delay. And nobody today would be able to believe that. But at the same time, it's about constant growth. It's about pushing forward. And I think it's taking steps. And we're doing that as a whole in the WNBA. And now with the Chicago Sky, we've always been pushing forward. It's always been fun to come back and play in Chicago. And I think Chicago is ready and has always embraced women's basketball.
Cheryl raced out with WBEZ.
Hi, Candace. Portillo's is great. My husband, son, and I go there every Friday now during the quarantine.
Please hit me up. I'm there.
What's it been like for you these last several days, knowing that coming here has really, really pumped up you, the Sky, and does it validate your decision?
I feel as though, yes, just more so, I think speaking with my teammates, I think that was my main thing, was making sure that, and Coach Wade can attest to this, just making sure that they were okay and they wanted me to return and they wanted me to be a part of what they were trying to build. And so from that, I think if anything validated it more, it was just the outreach from them and, the connection that we've tried to establish to this point, and we will continue to build that relationship, but also this city for sure. I talked about my grandma. Just to me, I'm the biggest Bears and Bulls fan. And so to see them tweet about it, made my day yesterday on the plane. So I think it's just the entire city embracing that. And then obviously, friends and families that have reached out from my hometown in Naperville. So I think I'm excited. I'm just as excited. And, I really do feel as though my heart led me back to Chicago.
Is there anything scary about leaving something that you've been doing for 13 years and going someplace else?
Of course, it's uncomfortable. It's scary. But because of that fear, I don't think I would not do something, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
from what I've learned in my career and from what I've learned in my life, like you grow in those uncomfortable times and you grow in those times where, you know, maybe you might be a little bit unsure about it, but you know it's the right decision. And so for me, I'm so thankful and so lucky to have played for an amazing organization. You know, with the Sparks, Eric Holloman was fantastic in my tenure there as well, just management. And so it is difficult to leave, but in a way it's like, I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm still living in LA in the winters, and I get to come to Chi City in the summer. And so I think it's just overall, I was able to add a home, I would say, during these 13 years. That's still going to be home permanent. And I'm excited to be a part of the Chicago Sky.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
We have time for a couple more questions, just about 2 more. Andrew Seligman from AP.
Yeah, hi, James. Just wondering if you could give us a little more insight on in terms of just how the process played out, who contacted who first, and when the contact was made. Did you have any inkling that Candace was going to be interested in coming home? Had somebody tipped you off about that? Just anything along those lines?
Well, I reached out to, you know, her agent, and I talked to her agent, and I don't know how the contact evolved on her end, but I know that once free agency started, she was aware of our interests, and from there we set up a time that we can meet, we could talk, and we talked, and then we set up a time that we could meet. And it just evolved from there. Numerous phone calls and reaching out via text message. Also, you know, our players, they reached out at their own accord, and they reached out to me. They's like, hey, so can I call her? Should I call her? And I was like, hey, yeah, you know, please do, and because they were eager to bring her on board, and ownership, and everybody reached out, and just to let her know, you know, how important she would be, how important she would mean to us. My main goal was to make sure that she was comfortable. I know that this is a hard decision for her, you know, being the iconic player that she is, but also what comes with that, you get identified with the jersey that you're wearing. So we knew it was a hard decision, but, you know, we reached out. I don't think we overly reached out. I was, you know, it's a little balance that you have with that. But as far as those proper steps, I think the first step was reaching out to her agent and letting her know how interested we were, and then from her side, being responsive to that, and being willing to meet up, and being willing to touch base with us.
Thanks.
All right, last question will be Eric Wilson.
Hey, Candace, I just wanted to ask you, and thank you very much, Kelly. I appreciate it. So, you know, this being Black History Month, with all the change that we've seen and of course, the first woman president being first female vice president, Kamala Harris, you know, you seem to be one of those women who want to leave that kind of legacy and make that impact. Can you just speak to, outside of basketball, what are some of the initiatives and things that you are doing to continue the conversation of, you know, social injustices?
Well, fortunately, this summer has opened a lot of eyes to the need to continue to do work within this country. And I think that, you know, it is a process, and I think we all realize that. You know, to be a part of the WNBA has always been at the forefront of change. And I say that saying that our league is 80% African American, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, LGBTQ community, different religions, you name it. You know, we are the majority of the minority in this country. And so within the WNBA, we understand our responsibility, you know, to give a voice to the voiceless. And with that being said, I think after everything, you know, with the bubble, I had an opportunity to join D Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, and the Social Change Fund. And a lot of what we're trying to do is, you know, to level the playing field. And that goes across the board, not just stretching just to race. And I'll speak to just in terms of sport and how important it is. People, try to devalue women's sports. And I think it's important to understand that, yes, there are those that play professionally, but having an opportunity as a little girl to play sports, having an opportunity to be out there and be seen in a leadership role and to learn the type of life skills that you need to be able to be successful in life. I mean, the boardroom is run like a locker room, is run like a sports team. And so I think it's so important for us to continue to emphasize how important it is for young girls to play team sports, so that little boys and little girls can both see women in different roles. And so we're seeing the benefits of an entire generation seeing women in those roles. And so I think just continuing work and leveling the playing field with Social Change Fund, but also
It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. WCPT. WCPT.
This the coldest sports show. You were getting the hour from 6 p.m. to 7. Chillin' with Lauren Cox and the man Marvelous. Shout out to Mr. Rouse and the Italian style. You what sports is the only politic.
WCPT. WCPT. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. We're streaming live on Facebook. Yeah, we're in space as well. Broadcasting from the illustrious studios of WCPT 820 AM in the beautiful, beautiful city of Chicago, a very snowy city of Chicago, in the fantastic neighborhood of Jefferson Park. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of the Rewind Sports 60, the fastest hour in sports conversation. Let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. You love him. He's not over at Wrigley Field shoveling the snow on the bleachers. He's not over at Guaranteed Rate Stadium over there shoveling the dugout out. No, he's not doing that, ladies and gentlemen. He's not even over at Soldier Field trying to bail those guys out, even though there's no games over there. He's not at Wintrust Arena. No. He's not at the United Center. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in the studios of WCPT 820 AM. He is the one. He's the only. He's known as the Marvelous One. He's Dan Marvel. What's up, Marvel?
Hey, Wintrust Arena. UConn was there today. The women, I think they won by 33, so it was a slow day for them. But I'm Superman,
Are you?
I've had the first vaccine. I am Superman.
No, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, pretty soon I'll be able to breathe all over you.
Take it easy. Take it easy. When'd you get it and how'd you feel?
Thursday, no problem at all. But I've talked to a lot of people. It's kind of like they ask me where I got it. I say it was bootleg because I'm afraid to tell anybody because it's like gold to find this. It's like some people are trying online for hours and they don't get anything. But I got clued in because my daughter's a teacher, so she helped me find it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they were out in was it Elk Grove yesterday at Hawthorne, the school district?
Yeah.
And my pharmacist from the Walgreens out in the Wheeling area on Dundee Road, she was actually one of the people distributing the vaccine to people.
Well, I walked into my local Walgreens before all this, and they told me to get lost. They don't have it, so I went online and
get out of here.
Yeah, we ain't got it. But I would ask people to, when they can, to take it because it's going to end this thing more quickly.
Yeah, hopefully, it's going to end this thing more quickly. And of course, they're fighting back and forth in Congress as far as our lawmakers are concerned as far as the amount of dosages and all of that good stuff. But I think for the most part, if you can get the vaccine, certainly step in line and take care of yourself. But as important, if not more, mask up. Distance yourself. And this snow has been able to help people distance themselves for sure.
And if necessary, double mask.
Double mask, yeah. By the end of this year, we're going to have to wear a whole helmet.
Yeah. And a visor.
Yeah. But please stay safe. Wash your hands. Mask up. Double mask if you have to. And certainly social distance. Because we can get past this. And as our president, the current one, said, hey, listen. It's going to be kind of tough. It's going to be kind of bleak. But we can get through this. And Dr. Anthony Fauci, along with the president, said we can manage it. We can get through it. Even with the 3 additional strains, variants that have hit the United States. But if we all work together collectively, we can certainly do it. And as far as mass transportation is concerned, airplanes, trains, buses, across the country, Marvelous, you're going to have to mask up.
Sounds like a movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, certainly does. But ladies and gentlemen, it is the fastest hour in sports conversation, a Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, along with the marvelous one, Dan Marver. You want to hit us up, our number here is 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. We got a lot in store, and we're looking forward to having a fantastic show, so we want you to be a part of it. Stream it live on Facebook if you missed any portion of the broadcast. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, the Rewind Sports 60.com. Great guest list as well. Looking forward to having Fred Mitchell join us shortly to talk about the news that broke on Thursday regarding Northwestern and the cheerleaders, the lawsuit. But before we get into that and join Fred Mitchell on our TRS60 hotline, how have you been able to deal with all this snow, Marvelous? A foot of snow hit Chicago from yesterday till today, and it supposedly said they were going to stop at 6 o'clock today. Yeah. But as I came into the studios, I could see the flurry still hitting the ground.
Well, it reminded me of 10 years ago when we had the Snowmageddon and people were stranded on Lakeshore Drive in 2011. It was February 1st and 2nd, so it's pretty close to this. And the other big one was in January of 67. I think there was 23 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And, so there have been worse ones, but this was pretty bad. And the key is you don't want to give yourself a heart attack shoveling it, of course, and just take it easy and do it in doses.
Yeah, do it in doses. Take it easy, and when you're out there shoveling, if you don't have the snowblower, if you're out there shoveling, use your knees. Mm-hmm. Bend your knees. Don't put all that strain on your back, because it'll catch up to you. Believe me. So,
amen.
Yeah, I had the fortune of my beautiful wife Lisa handling the snowblower, and of course yours truly using the shovel, and we got things done. But of course I had to get out there again, Marvelous, and shovel. That's the one thing I hate about it. I appreciate it. I know it's part of what we do here in the city of Chicago, but and I don't mind necessarily going out to shovel the snow if I have to do it, because I got to get the car out of the garage and get the driveway all cleared and everything. But I really don't like going out 2 and 3 times to shovel.
Well, they do a great job in Northbrook, for example, of clearing the streets. But then the problem is you have a 10-foot wall at the end of your driveway, and then you get rid of the wall, and then you get more snow, and you have a 5-foot wall. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I don't like, and I know the boys in Wheeling, they do a fantastic job. Pat Horker, the village president, he's up for election again coming up soon. So good luck to him. But the boys that handle the crews in the Wheeling area, they do a fantastic job. But I don't like the fact that they're plowing the streets, but they're pushing that snow right up on the driveway, and I got to get right. And it's heavy snow, Marvelous. It's not the powdery stuff that's coming from this is the heavy, dirty stuff.
Yeah, my sister used to live on the end of a block by a busy street, and boy, did she get it. They'd really pile it up off the main street right into her driveway.
Wow. So, hey, all of you out there, stay safe, drive safely. There are a couple cars on the road coming in on 294 to Tri-State South, and there are a couple cars that ran into the ditches. Drive safely. Take your time. You will get there. But be careful, be cautious, be polite, and just get there when you get there, but drive safely. We want to make sure you certainly do that. We already got a phone call. Let's go out to Ed calling from Ed. Ed, where are you calling from, buddy?
Rankin, Illinois, downstate from you, about 95 miles.
That'll boy. How are you? You all safe and sound inside?
Yes, sir. We didn't get near as much snow down here. It's still coming down, but very light and scattered.
Yeah. My daughters are at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and they said the same thing. Had an opportunity to talk with them earlier today, and they said the snow is, they were getting snow, but it wasn't to the amount that we got here in Chicago. Again, a foot of snow in the great city of Chicago. What's on your mind, Ed?
Yes. Hank Aaron, and I know he was playing in the lower market areas, and no doubt written through the years that he wasn't given the attention or recognition that he deserved. Came up in 54, and my statement may be arguable, but in 56, the Braves might have had the first all-black outfield in the major league.
In 56?
I believe so, and there may be somebody that would disagree with that, and they may disagree rightfully, but I think it was the Braves that had the first all-black outfield.
Can you name them?
Yes. Wes Covington came up as a rookie in 1956.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Bruton was a center fielder, and of course, Hank Wright.
That wasn't a regular lineup, though, was it?
Yes.
It was
a everyday ball player.
It was a regular lineup. I had you heard about that, Marvelous?
Yeah, but I got the Giants with Monty Irvin, Willie Mays, and Hank Thompson. I'm looking it up in 1951. So that's listed.
Hank Thompson became a third baseman later, and a real good one.
Yeah,
that's food for thought.
He died. Hank Thompson died tragically at the age of 30, if I'm not mistaken.
What were your thoughts on the great Hammerin' Hank Aaron?
I was fortunate enough to follow baseball about the time he came up, and the calmest man you'd ever see, and you cheering him when you're in there like a rookie, and of course your stomach's turning, but his demeanor was calm, and if I get a hit, great. If I don't, I might strike out, but hey, I'll be back another time at bat. And he was nothing but short of super.
No, he was outstanding, and I obviously had an opportunity to watch Hammerin' Hank as a kid growing up on the south side of Chicago, here in the great city of Chicago, and it was, and especially when he tied and broke Babe Ruth's record, it was overwhelming for a young black kid to be able to watch this black man, and kudos to television back during that time, because they kept a track of Harry Aaron closing in on the Braves number, and once he did it, he received the praise and the accolades, and it was kind of scary at the time, because back in '74 when he hit the homer and he was rounding the bases, you see the footage, the video, historic, where the two white guys jump onto the field and they run. And at one particular time, I think it was Vince Scully, they made the announcement, but I think people kind of like collectively held their breath, because leading up to it, Henry Aaron was getting all these death threats.
Absolutely.
And people didn't know what these two young white kids were going to do, if they were going to, congratulate them, or if they were going to pull out a switchblade and try to stick them. Luckily and fortunately, and God bless that, it didn't happen, and they patted him on the back. But I look at Henry Aaron, and I look at him as being the best home run hitter of all time, for the simple fact that everything that he had to endure as an African-American ball player back during that time was very, very stressful, very, very difficult, and certainly challenging compared to what Babe Ruth. I mean, Babe Ruth was like, he was the life of the party. I mean, so everything that Henry Aaron had to overcome to still focus and concentrate to accomplish this great feat. In my opinion, he's the greatest of all time as far as home run hitters are concerned.
Not only that, but he had a batting average of 305.
Unbelievable.
And RBIs, 2,297.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And he stole 240 bases besides.
But again, you think about it. You go to bed at night and you're getting all these death threats, and you still got to focus and get out there the next day and do your job. And Henry Aaron was capable of doing that.
They had cops in the outfield, I believe, too.
Yeah, they certainly did. Ed, anything else before we let you go?
Yes, he was given a not very honorary number, way high up there, 44, and Jackie Robinson was given 42.
Mm-hmm.
And another piece of trivia: Al Downing, the pitcher, that he hit the home run off of, was the first black pitcher with the Yankees.
He was the first African American pitcher with the Yankees.
Yes, sir.
Ed, you're the best. Thank you. We appreciate your support. I'm sorry?
One more.
Okay.
Danny Carlino in the early 2000s had a radio show down the dial in the morning, and he gave terrific interviews with people, and he did a editorial on Danny Mack at the end of one of his shows, and the little boy Danny is an interviewer that's really great.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie.
You all are, of course. You're in the business, and you're all very good.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Take care. Thank you. Ed, calling from Lincoln down in the downstate.
That name sounds familiar. Danny Carlino.
Danny Carlino, the Italian stallion. Real quick before we go to our guest, we got John calling from Wheeling. John, welcome to the Rewind Sports 60. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Jerry. How about you?
I'm hanging in there, brother. Made it here safe and sound through all that snow and ice. There were people skidding all over the place, sliding in the ditches, but yours truly paced himself, got himself down the road, Milwaukee Avenue, and safe and sound here in the studios. What's on your mind, buddy?
I wanted to talk about the idea of the Chicago Bears giving the Payton family a 1% stake in ownership of the team. I think it's a great idea, and that they should do it. And there should probably be a petition going around the city of Chicago and all Bears fans to sign that petition to show the Cat family that Bears fans are serious about this idea.
Hey, Juan, why do you think the Bears should give 1% ownership to the Payton family? What leads you to think that that's something that they should certainly honor and do?
Well, aside from the fact that Walter Payton was the greatest football player both in Chicago Bears history, and certainly one of the greatest football players ever in the history of the National Football League, I think obviously the legacy speaks for itself. And obviously, the representation as well. I think, both from a publicity point, but, it's well-deserving as well. I think it really would help bring more ideas and also rejuvenate the franchise to help it get to the next level where it needs to be, and also to give more recognition to minority ownership that is very low in the league.
Hey, Juan, thank you so very much. Very well said. And we want you to continue to give us a call and let us know your thoughts and your opinions, because we certainly believe that the great late Walter Payton and his family, his son and daughter, Brittany Payton, and, of course, Jared Payton, certainly should have at least 1% ownership of the Chicago Bears. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you. Stay safe. We got that thing going a couple of weeks ago with the chairman, Chicago Bears, George McCaskey, and here's a little bit about what he said regarding the great late Walter Payton.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with all of the reasons that Walter's bid for a team in St. Louis was not successful. I know that we supported it 100%. Walter was a member of our board of directors so that he could be prepared for that eventuality if it ever came about. I'm sorry that it didn't, but Walter's place in the hearts of Bears fans and in our family is solid. I remember my mom, after Walter passed away, said that she and my dad promised themselves after Brian Piccolo passed away that they wouldn't get too close to a player again because it was too painful when Brian passed, and they were able to keep that promise to themselves until Walter Payton came into their lives. He just had an irrepressible personality. Once he decided that he wanted to be in your life, there was no denying him.
There was no denying it. And of course, you certainly wanted to be in his life. The great late Walter Payton, may he rest in peace. But it's something that I certainly believe. And again, that was the chairman of the Chicago Bears, George McCaskey. I think it's long overdue. Marvelous.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, Walter would be 66 now, only if he was still alive.
Yeah.
And so he'd be maybe he himself would be on the board.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've gotten some questions from people to say, well, what about the family? Does Jared and Brittany, are they even interested or even want to entertain the idea or the thought of ownership, 1% or 49% or whatever the case may be? And my response is, well, if their father was honored to join that fraternity and become a minority owner of a National Football League team, they probably would be working for the organization in some type of capacity. So, they're doing fantastic work at what they're doing respectively. But if their dad had the ownership of the St. Louis Rams or any other team, they certainly would be working for their dad, in my opinion, whatever team that is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the fastest hour in sports conversation. This is the Rewind Sports 60. We're going commercial free. We go to our TRS60 hotline, ladies and gentlemen. He is a friend of the program. He's a former Chicago Tribune sports writer and columnist. He's currently a adjunct professor at DePaul University. He's on our TRS60 hotline right now. He's the great Fred Mitchell. Fred, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Jerry. Good to talk to you. Hope you're staying warm.
Well, we're staying warm, and I was able to drive in from the northern suburbs, Fred, and I made it safe and sound. Although to the left of me and to the right of me, I saw some cars in the ditches and off the road. So that was a sign definitely from the man upstairs to say 10 and 2 on the wheel, and don't even drive the speed limit. Just drive carefully and safely to get to where you have to get to. So yes, doing well. Hopefully you're safe and sound as well.
I am so far. Knock on wood. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time out on the Sunday to join us, and we won't keep you long, but we just had to reach out to the great Fred Mitchell and pick your brain on a couple issues regarding the world of sports here in the great city of Chicago. You heard the soundbite. I was going to start off with the Northwestern University cheerleader lawsuit, but you just heard the soundbite of George McCaskey talking about Walter Payton and his ambitious failed attempt to get ownership of the National Football League team. What were your thoughts back during that time regarding Walter's pursuit of becoming a minority owner in the National Football League?
Yeah, I had interviewed Walter and talked to him several times leading up to the disappointment of not getting the ownership of the St. Louis team. I know he was looking forward to it very much so. I think so many professional athletes, after they retire, especially the great ones like Walter, look for something that can provide them something close to the excitement and energy that they had when they were playing. Seldom do they find that, but Walter thought that ownership of an NFL team would provide that. As you recall, he was involved in a number of things after his playing career. He was in the auto racing business, and he was in manufacturing business, and he was on the board of the Chicago Bears. He was doing quite a bit trying to find that niche. So I just do remember how much he was looking forward to becoming the first minority owner of an NFL team. in St. Louis, and it was disappointing to him not to get that.
Yeah, it certainly was disappointing, not only to him, I'm sure his family members, Connie and the kids, and even Eddie Payton. We had him on last week, Fred, and asked his thoughts on the possibility of should the Bears offer a 1% proposal to the Payton family. And Eddie said that certainly Walter was disappointed. And the disappointing thing about it is the fact that Walter knew the work that it took and what he had to put into it to accomplish that. And of course, he had the financial backers. And you talked about being on the board of the Chicago Bears. Walter did that to learn as much as he could the ins and outs and the behind the scenes doings of running a professional outfit. And for him to come up short, it certainly was it was a crushing blow, no question about it. Real quick, I'll give you the response of George McCaskey a couple weeks ago when we posed the question to him regarding 1% ownership of the Chicago Bears for the Payton family.
Well, we think the world of the Payton family, Connie, Jared, Brittany, and so proud that they are still members of the Bears family after all these years. Just think the world of them. I can't speak for Brittany, but I know we can't afford Jarrett. That guy, his demands would be too. I'm kidding, of course. I have a great relationship with both of them. Mm-hmm. They're absolute naturals on the air, and just a great family. We think the world of them.
And that is George McCaskey's response regarding the question. And, some people have also asked, Fred, and we're, what's the money factor regarding this? And my response to them regarding, this idea is the fact that I don't think the money is the issue. I think for all the contributions that Walter Payton, blood, sweat, and tears that he gave to the organization, and Papa Bear George Halas loved him like a son. But for everything that Walter Payton did for that franchise, did for the city, and his accomplishments around the league, he to me, again, he deserves, his family deserves consideration. And the fact that we're still talking about something like this in 2021, and we see the amount of African American head coaches who were not hired for 7 vacancies, only 1 with the Houston Texans, the qualifications, the African American athletes in pro sports and pro football, they're there. But there's still the Rooney Rule that has to be addressed in 2021. So in my mind, in my opinion, it's definitely long overdue, and no amount of money can pay tribute to what Walter Payton means to the Bears, this city, and the National Football League, Fred.
Yeah, I mean, I think all you have to do is look at the Walter Payton Award, which is, and most prestigious NFL award. It's they market it and support it throughout the league. You hear it during most every NFL game. The man of the year nominees from each team, and talk about the community service aspect of the award more so than the playing part of it, and that shines well on the Bears as an organization, as well as Walter and his family, and no question that you'd like to see more action in addition to the words about what he meant to the league, what he stood for, what he represents. All of those intangibles should manifest themselves to the point of action. So there's been a lot of talk and a lot of sort of awakening in America over this past year, and all the terrible things and tragedies that have happened and that have come to light. So hopefully moving forward there will be some steps taken by the National Football League that support these feelings and these events and these long overdue measures, like you mentioned.
Hey, Fred, this is Dan Marver in the studio. How you doing? I was reading your bio, 41 years of the Tribune. That's remarkable. And I think there's a little-known fact. Is there still a Fred Mitchell Award for the nation's top collegiate place kicker?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
It goes to the best kicker in among 750 colleges in America, non-FBS schools. So we're talking about FCS, Division II, Division III, NAIA, and community colleges in America. This has been in place since 2009. This year, unfortunately, we did not have a season during the fall for the smaller schools. So I really missed that.
Yeah,
but,
the Missouri Valley is starting up.
Criteria.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Part of the criteria is kicking in community service.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the FCS, the Missouri Valley, starting a spring season in 2 weeks, so that should be interesting. See how that goes. But some of them are doing a spring season. Yeah.
Hey, Fred, we know your time is short, and we appreciate you taking the time out. We got a transition regarding this latest news, the lawsuit that came out that was announced on this past Thursday. Northwestern University, former cheerleader, alleged that there was inappropriate sexual activity and conduct taking place while she was a cheerleader there, and so she filed a federal lawsuit against the Northwestern University. Marvin, I don't have the story in front of me. You want to share a little bit of information?
Yeah. Well, the woman's name is Hayden Richardson, and basically it says that that her complaint is that he had repeated instances where she said she was groped by drunken fans and alumni during university-sanctioned events, alleging the cheer team's head coach required female cheerleaders to mingle with powerful donors for the school's financial gain. And then actually the story was backed up by a second individual, I believe, by the name of Erica Carter, who says that this occurred between 2016 and 2018. So it's not an isolated incident, apparently. And obviously, you think of this as maybe something you'd see at Alabama or someplace like that. So maybe Northwestern's made the big time, but this is terrible.
Your thoughts, Fred?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't know the exact details and what has been submitted, the complaints, when they were submitted, any of those details to verify. But I will say that if this indeed did happen, it's reprehensible. It's not part of what the cheerleaders sign up for when they want to cheer for their teams. I would not be surprised to hear similar stories throughout the country, unfortunately. And, a lot of times these cheerleaders are asked to make appearances at fundraising events, among the general public, donors in this case, and people take advantage of the opportunities and situations and go too far. So this is something that needs to be checked out and monitored. Like I said, I don't want to make any kind of definitive comment because I don't know specifically the details of what happened.
Yeah.
But if it did happen, it's somebody needs to be accountable for that.
There's no question about it, and I certainly agree with you. Someone definitely needs to be held accountable, and of course we don't have. I mean, right now it's her, word against theirs, so to speak. But I have two daughters at the University of Illinois currently right now. One a junior, one a senior, both studying engineering. And before I sent my kids off to school, they know what to do, what not to do. If there's if there's some type of questionable situation occurring, certainly get away from it. But they know how to conduct themselves, and they know when someone is not conducting themselves. And so as a parent, I hand my kid off to the university, but I prepare my kids for the experience. And again, we understand that it's college, and that's where, kids are going to learn and grow and experience and all of that good stuff. But when you talk about responsible adults, and in this case, boosters. It doesn't matter if the girls are, the cheerleaders are asked to attend an event, to help encourage these boosters to, sign a check. We get that as part of the program. But I think these boosters, they need to conduct themselves right or wrong. And I'm not pointing out the finger at Northwestern University. Marvelous touched on it. We know that these sort of things happen all around the country. I think it's the adult in us that need to be responsible and understand that there's a line that you don't cross, especially when it comes to college-age kids and college-age students and females, and you have to conduct yourself in a professional business manner. And she's alleging that alcohol was even encouraged for her and the other cheerleaders to, indulge in, and they were underage. So it is a very, very fine line, but I do put the responsibility on the adults because that's who they are. They are the adults, and they need to take full responsibility for their actions. Real quick,
No question about it.
Real quick before we go, we got to ask you about the Bears, Deshaun Watson, Fred. You've been covering this team and in this town for many years. You've done outstanding work. You're award-winning sports writer and columnist. When they talk about Chicago Bears and you talk about quarterback, the name that comes around first is Sid Luckman. Sid Luckman. Fred, we know what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. But if you had a chance to get a quarterback who his college coach compared to him said he's the Michael Jordan of football.
Yep.
If you had an opportunity to get this guy, because I think the Bears are one quarterback away from advancing in the playoffs, because they made the playoff based on this system this year. Would you throw all the marbles in there to get this kid, Deshaun Watson, knowing that he is somewhat available, said he wanted to trade? How would you handle that situation?
Well, I would do more than just kick the tires. I would, say, what does it take? What would it take to acquire him? It's obvious that the most glaring missing link in the Bears is the quarterback position, and it's been that way for quite some time. And we get excited over the years when you get somebody like Jay Cutler, who was turned out to be average at best, and you just wonder, well, what would it be like if you had a Aaron Rodgers type quarterback, like or Brett Favre type quarterback, or anybody who was exceptional at that position. And Deshaun Watson, the Bears and other teams, made the mistake on draft day as far as not taking advantage of getting either him or Patrick Mahomes. This would be a chance to redeem themselves. And as I said, what would it take to get this guy? He's so young, and this has so many tools that you can only imagine how he would be embraced by the city, by the team, and be a key part of the organization for many, many years to come.
Yeah, to me, it's almost a no-brainer, and I understand, he comes with a lot, and you don't have much cap space, but for me, and it's unfortunate, I think that it's just the, business as usual as far as the Bears brass and operating, but with this situation, because I truly believe, Fred, and you can correct me, you've seen a lot more football than I have and played a lot more football than I have, but I truly believe with Nagy's system, and with the players, David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, when he comes back, I don't know what's going to happen with the wide receiver position. The line, I think if they stay together, I think they could form to be a very, very good unit. I think they're a quarterback away from really being a respectable offense week in and week out. They're a quarterback away.
Yeah.
To me, they got it. They would have to. I don't know. I would do it.
Yeah, I would definitely do it. I mean, like I said before, he's got all the tools, both as a passer, as a runner, just a big playmaker. He doesn't hesitate. You know, the one thing that I look at when I look at the great quarterbacks is that they make their decisions quickly. Aaron Rodgers gets rid of the ball immediately. He knows where he's going with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Favre was the same way. Tom Brady's the same way. All the great quarterbacks are able to do that. They don't sit back in the pocket for 5 or 6 seconds, looking around, surveying the field, and forcing something to happen after that. So that's sort of a savvy attitude that a quarterback has to have, sort of an innate ability. And you can see Mitch Trubisky is, as hard as he tries and as earnest as he is, and as however much time he spends in the film room, all these things are great, but his instincts aren't the best on a consistent basis. He has his moments, but I think it's a combination of getting the right quarterback and also Matt Nagy growing as a coach, and whoever ends up calling the plays next year has to be very cognizant of who the quarterback is, what his skill set is, and what situations you want to put him in. Because I blame Nagy as much as anybody in the first couple of years of Mitch Trubisky for asking him to do some things that he wasn't comfortable doing, had not enough experience doing, and you have to really be aware of your players and your talent on your team and make the most of it. And that includes play calling and having a healthier balance of running and passing. All of these things come into play.
Real quick, here's what Mayor Lori Lightfoot had to say about the Bears' offense and Mr. Trubisky.
Is Nick Foles the answer? We're going to see once they get out on the field and start putting it together on the offense. But the inconsistency of Trubisky over these last few years, it's just, even in the year that we had a great run, what you saw, I think, last year was the inconsistent offense wasn't producing. I thought the play calling was very pedestrian.
Fred, that's the great Mayor Lori Lightfoot on your Chicago Bears. Hey, we can spend a lot more time with you, but we do appreciate you taking some time out. It is the fastest hour in sports conversation. In 10 seconds, who do you take in Super Bowl 55 down in Florida next week?
Oh boy, I would probably go with Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. Tampa Bay has played well late in the season, especially, and they're a very, very formidable team. I always just root for a good game to enjoy, a competitive game.
Yeah,
I think we will get that, and I just like the playmaking aspects of the offense on Kansas City when they get rolling with Kelsey and the running back and Mahomes. It's pretty tough to outscore.
Yeah, as long as it's entertaining, I'm pulling for Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, but definitely we want it to be entertaining. I think you got two of the best quarterbacks that ever played the game, the young guy and the GOAT. So hopefully we get that excitement. Fred, thank you so very much. It's always a pleasure to touch base with you. And happy Black History Month to you, my good friend.
Oh, same to you, Jared. Good to talk to you.
Take care. Stay safe. We'll talk to you down the road.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Fred Mitchell joining us on our TRS60 hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the fastest hour in sports conversation. Marvelous.
Take my vote for Kansas City as well.
There you go. There you go. Marvelous.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing football
during our show
on a high school level.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well,
your thoughts?
Well, they're going to be playing basketball first.
Well, I didn't ask you about that. I asked you about football, Marvelous.
Well, football will be in March.
Well, that's what I'm asking you about, Marvelous.
Okay, they're going to do six. They're going to do six. If all goes well, they're going to do 6 weeks of basketball, starting this Saturday, the 6th of February, and then when that's over, they're going to do 6 weeks of football, starting in March.
Okay.
Okay. There'll be no postseason, no playoffs.
Huh.
So basically, it's like, for example, the Central Suburban League will do 5 weeks of home and home. That's 10 games. And then they'll do the 6 crossovers for 16 games. So that's pretty good. 16 games in 6 weeks. The football will do the same thing. You'll have the 5 weeks of playing your conference opponents. And they're thinking about the last week, maybe having the top team in the Central Suburban League play the top team in the Mid-Suburban, like 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, just so there's something that they're playing for at the end of the year since there's no playoffs. So that's the plan. I mean, my daughter's team is planning on playing on February 10th basketball, which is a week from Wednesday. So as long as we're in the clear with the ability to do this, I think they're going to have to play with masks.
Yeah.
So it's going to be different with no fans.
For those of those people who are just tuning in to the fastest hour in sports conversation, the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT 820 AM, who's your daughter? I mean, you said my daughter's team. So
he's the head basketball coach at Willows Academy in Des Plaines. So very proud of her, and maybe we can have her on as a guest.
Yeah, maybe we can have her on as a guest. And we do have another guest on our TRS60 hotline, ladies and gentlemen. He's one of the top running backs in the city, playing high school basketball for the Crusaders of...
Brother Rice.
Brother Rice. I drew a blank there. I was going to say Crusaders of Holy Cross because my brother played for the Crusaders of Holy Cross. But this young man plays for the Crusaders of Brother Rice on the city's far south side. He's on our TR60 hotline, ladies and gentlemen. He's a 5'9", 175-pound senior running back. He runs a 40 and a 4.47. This guy is blazing. Ladies and gentlemen, he's pleased to join us on the hotline. He's Joshua Bell. Joshua, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Thank you so very much. I kind of drew a blank on the Crusaders of Brother Rice, and I shouldn't come up with a blank because my older brother attended Brother Rice High School way back in the day. I'm, of course, a Catholic leaguer from St. Rita. I had brothers that went to Quigley South, and my sister went to Maria High School. So we're full of Catholic leagues, man. But welcome to the Rewind Sports 60. We appreciate you, man, and your thoughts on the announcement that high school sports and high school football is going to be starting up again.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it, because it's like the players get to finally play, and we just been waiting for a long time to play. So I'm really happy, and it gives the seniors like one more chance to finally get film and stuff.
Were you anticipating this announcement coming? That hopefully eventually you'll get an opportunity to get back on the gridiron and showcase your talents to get to the next level.
Yes, yeah. I always believed it was going to happen. My coaches, they really had faith in it, and it gave us, my teammates, and me faith that we was going to eventually have a season and everything.
Hey, Joshua, this is Dan in the studio. With the weird season and all, with the COVID, how did that affect your recruiting?
Well, it didn't really affect it that much. I've been talking to 2 schools mainly. I narrowed it down to two schools, the University of Dayton and University of Valparaiso. So I'm really talking to them too. But I'm pretty sure once the football season began, I'm going to talk to more colleges. So I'm happy about that too.
No, we're happy about that too as well. And Dayton and Valpar are pretty good programs, no question about it. But as a kid growing up, is this part of your dream, your goal to play high school sports in the great city of Chicago at a top level, but also to showcase your skill set at the next level as far as college football is concerned? Was this part of your goal, your dream as a young kid growing up?
Oh, yes. I'm pretty sure that's like every kid's young dream who plays sports to make it to the next level.
And what school was that you wanted to play for collegiately? As a dream?
You're talking about like a school that
A dream team, yeah.
So when I was a kid, I'll tell you my dream real quick. When I was a kid, how old was I, Marvelous? Maybe like 10 or I fell in love with the Ohio State University, and it was around the time that Archie Griffin had won back-to-back Heisman trophies. And when I fell in love with the great Ohio State University, I said to myself, I'm going to go to that university and I'm going to play football and I'm going to win the Heisman Trophy 3 times. Archie Griffin did it twice. I'm going to win it 3 times. Well, of course, that dream faded really well. So, as a youngster, when you were growing up, brother, what university did you watch on Saturday afternoon and say, "Hey, I want to run for that school. I want to run for that coach"?
It was the University of Michigan.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me? No! Don't tell me that, man! Don't do it! No! Come back! Come back! Come back! Come back to the other side. Joshua, come back to the other side, man.
You never should ask a question when you don't know the answer.
Well, that's why you ask the questions. But go on, man. We won't hold that against you. Go on.
Yeah, I just really loved the school when I was young. Me and my mom, we watched the University of Michigan every Saturday. And those was just like great moments between us two. So
okay, all right.
That's why I like the school.
Well, you know what? I don't like the school. I don't like the state, and my heart was kind of hurt and broken. Why? Because 2 guys that I really admire, just because they're great human beings to me and they accomplished a lot in their lives, they have connections with that school up north. We call it the school up north, and that of course is the great Barack Obama. For some reason, he let his daughter go up to that school. And then the great Michael Jordan, he had nerve enough to have his brand on their uniforms. He signed a deal with them. He signed with the devil, man. He signed with the devil. But we won't hold that against you, brother. Hey, listen, before we let you go, we hope that more colleges get an opportunity to check you out. What have you been doing during the off season, waiting for the decision to be made that we can resume high school sports? What sort of workouts, what sort of things have you been doing to keep your body and your mind in tune for this opportunity?
Well, I've been running the hill by my house like every day or every other day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have like a bench press and squat rack in my basement. So I've been bench pressing and squatting. And I just really been working on my footwork, really.
No, that's very key. And so at the next level, you talked about Valpo and you talked about Dayton, who are really, really heavy in recruiting you. Will it be at the running back position? Because you're a two-way athlete, and I believe, and you're the captain of the football team. Congratulations. But are you also the middle? Are you also the middle linebacker on defense as well?
Well, I played the sophomore year, but my main position is running back.
Okay. And what's your how do we say it, Marvelous? What's your skill set? Because we see David Montgomery running for the Chicago Bears, and when he gets the rock, he's just a beast to reckon with. We see Tariq Cohen when he gets the rock, he's kind of one of them speedy, the little gadflies that you want to just smack, but you can't catch up to him. What's your forte as far as running the rock?
Well, I believe I'm a very hard runner, and I'm very patient, I let, my O-lineman block first and, just look at the play. And I'm very fast, too.
Yeah, hell yeah, you fast. Excuse my language, but you've heard worse, believe me. You playing football in high school in Chicago, you've heard worse than that. But you run a 4.4 740. That's real speed. Quentin Demps, you remember Quentin Demps? He played for the Bears for a couple years or whatever, but he's a co-host on the show. That Quentin Demps made it to the pros. He runs a 4.4 540.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I ran a 4.540. So you're in good company with the 4.47.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't run that fast. So it says you're 5'9", 175, Josh? Is that about right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I know that the Pioneer League, I think we need to get you as a full scholarship at a place like Miami University where I went.
Oh, Marvelous will put in some good words for you, brother. He'll put in some good words for you. Hey, man, before we let you go, and we appreciate you taking some time, say hello to your father, Tracy, and, of course, your uncle, Reggie. It's just, you're a friend of the program, man. You're a friend of the program. Now, football isn't your only gift. I understand you're pretty good with the bowling ball. Share with our listening audience what you just did on Friday, man.
Friday, I had a 279, and yesterday, I had a 289 again.
For the Brother Rice bowling team, right?
Wow. It's good.
Correct, yeah. I was one more frame away from a 300.
Are you kidding me? That's amazing. Have you bowled a 300 before?
No, I always came close.
Wow.
Like 9 or 10 strikes in a row, and then I messed up like in the 10th frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm going to eventually get it.
Wow. Well,
I feel it.
Man, God bless you, brother, and enjoy your youth, and dominate as much as you can, man, because it goes by fast. But keep running, keep lifting, and get on those books, brother. You go to Brother Rice. That's it's a Catholic League school. Very, very good, brother. Keep it going, and the sky's the limit for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're the best, hey, brother Josh. We appreciate you, man. Stay safe. All the best to the family. Take care, man. Marvelous.
Yeah.
It's the fastest hour in sports conversation, brother.
Do we have to go back on the road now?
No, on the road again. Seems like I'm always getting back on the road again. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it is the fastest hour in sports conversation. If you miss any portion of the Rewind Sports 60, make sure you check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, the RewindSports60.com. If you have Comcast in the northern suburbs on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, Channel 17, Channel 19, and Channel 35 on Comcast. Marvelous. Anything before we let you go?
No, I mean, we'll be doing this. We'll be underway with the Super Bowl next week when we're here, so it should be an exciting game. But don't miss us either.
Don't miss us at all. Thanks to our great producer, Devin Tingle. Lauren Cox, stay safe. Q, the 17th letter. Quentin Demps, talk to you, brother. Peace out, everybody. Stay safe.